Good afternoon, everyone. We will start in 1 minute. Okay. So, good afternoon again, and welcome to the side event on Older People Association in Asia. And my name is Usa Kiorot. I work for Foundation for Older Person Development, which is an NGO working on the aging issue based in Thailand. So this side event is co-organized by Helpage International and Japan Center for International Exchange. So for formation and promotion of older association had been one of the main strategy for country in the region to enhance the well-being of older people. And during the consultation with key stakeholders in preparation for this MIPAA review, and also during this past 2 days, OPA or this community-based organization of older people were highlighted in several sessions for their important role in different areas of development and to support the implementation of MIPAA in the coming years, as well as the need to scale up the OPA across the region. And also on day one, the side event on good practices for home and community care for older people discussed the intergenerational self-help club in Vietnam, which is one type OPA, how it successfully provide care and support. But today we will share the development of OPA by providing the status of OPA in the region, together with a case study from Vietnam and also a presentation of a recent OPA evaluation in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Eduardo Klein, the regional representative of Helpage International for Asia-Pacific, to give an opening speech. I will not further introduce him, because in this MIPAA review process, this is the 5th session that he served as a resource person. So he was already introduced many times. So Mr. Klein, please.
Thank you, Usa. And you are as well known as I am, so don't be shy to recognize that. Anyway, I'm honored to open this this event together with the Japan JCIE. And I was wondering how to say something meaningful. Many things have been said during these days about the role of communities, community-based organizations, and the intergenerational clubs. But maybe I think I would do good reminding you my professional career. I worked in social science. I'm an economist and a political scientist, but then I started working in development issues at community levels. And in Latin America, I worked for many years in agrarian reforms, in the rural community organization. And what I could observe is that the communities had been in the past, in the history, had been the stalwart of societies, but gradually they had been decaying as the market economy expanded and the urbanization processes, migration, and they had been in a process of deterioration. So we were wondering how to promote in the development sector, how to support the development of these community-based organizations. And then we were very much focused on projects, a project on livelihoods, a project on health, or a project on water and sanitation, and you always had to engage with the communities, and that was a way in which you could promote community-based organizations. However, the life showed us that when the project finished, many of those organizations would simply disappear, wane away. And I moved to Africa, and I saw that even were in a more intensive manner. Community-based organizations were not durable, were not sustainable, were relevant as long as an external actor was promoting them and supporting them. But there was nothing that was keeping them together from within the communities. No. But then, after moving to Asia, I've been in Asia for over 20 years. No, I saw the growth of these intergenerational self-help clubs. No, that they also had a process of experimentation, of trial and error. I remember we worked on the community-based organizations for people infected and affected with HIV/AIDS, and but those were not durable until finally we arrived to an approach, no, that was more comprehensive, that was multifunctional. Multifunctional meaning that it had to relate more with the concrete lives of people, because the lives of people are not related to only water and sanitation, or only social activities, or only health activities. It's the totality of them, and the interaction between all those aspects that makes something meaningful for the lives of older people. So these organizations became multifunctional. They became standardized, because if you want to expand them, to have them scaled up, you need to some level of standardization. They were very participative, in the sense that it was people who were engaged there, older people, and some of the nearly old, as they call them in Vietnam, would be engaged in defining what to do, what are the priorities, how to set up their activities, and especially how they elected their leadership. So at the end of the day, you had organizations that were scalable. You mean you were not recording what I said before? Anyway, I mean, we were aiming at organizations that could be scalable, that could go to every corner of a country, every part of a society. No, that option of this type of community-based organizations would be available everywhere. And for that, they would have to be sustainable. So that's one question that we always ask to our colleagues in Vietnam. How do you show that it is sustainable? And said, let's go to a community. We went to a community, and there was a club that had been established 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and it was still active. It was still engaged by its own. No? It had its own activity. But not only that, it had grown in terms of more people wanted to be members of that, so that they had split. They had created another club, and it was active and running by itself. That is, in simple terms, that's sustainability. It goes over time. It reproduces itself. Yeah, it regenerates itself. It's continuously creating new leadership, new set of activities, meeting new challenges. And these organizations, that's what they demonstrated in practical terms to do. But then we aimed at supporting the expansion to other countries. So the experience of Vietnam has been shared with several countries in Asia, very well received. There is a political will to support them from governments being built in ASEAN countries. I was talking with the representatives from the Ministry of Planning of Indonesia. They want to expand them in Indonesia. They want to expand the most developed approach, not just create an OPA and leave it there and say this is an OPA. No, it's whether the option, whether you have a Volkswagen or you have a Mercedes-Benz. No, the Intergenerational Self-Help Club offers the most advanced, most durable, most sustainable, most affordable, most participative approach that I have seen in my 30 years of work in development throughout the world. So I am honored to have been part of this effort and to continue supporting this effort. And I look forward to listening to the session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gun Eduardo Clint. And I will not further say about what you just said, because I think you really make us feel like I want to hear about this IHSC in Vietnam, and also OPA in the region in general. So, and thank you very much. And now I would like to invite the second speaker, Ms. Momogo Abe. Ms. Abe is the program officer at the Japan Center for International Exchange, overseeing the program on healthy and active aging in Asia, and is also responsible for other key initiatives of JCIE, including this spearheading the Healthy Aging Prize for Asian Innovation, and also facilitating expert dialogues in international forum. So over to you, Ms. Abe.
Hi, thank you, Kun Usa, and good afternoon to my friends here in Bangkok. Good morning or good evening to everyone listening to this event online from all over the world. My name is Momoko, and I'm from the Japan Center for International Exchange, JCIE, and I'm honored to be co-hosting this event together with Helpage International. And I feel so sorry for you, Eduardo, that your 3/4 of your wonderful speech weren't caught in the recording. But I'm sure it provided an impact in everyone's heart. So, let me quickly introduce our organization. May I have the slide, please? So maybe I can start speaking first. JCIE is a non-governmental, non-partisan foreign affairs institute with a long history on working on traditional and non-traditional security issues and cross-sectoral collaboration on policy issues as well. And since 2017, we are still quite young actually, but we have been conducting a program on healthy and active aging in Asia, working in cooperation with the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, also known as AREA, under the auspices of the Japanese government's Asia Health and Wellbeing Initiative, widely known as ARWIN. And through the ARWIN initiative, we facilitate policy research and dialogues on healthy aging. And one of our key activities, as Kun Usa mentioned for us, is the Healthy Aging Prize for Asian Innovation, in short, HAPI. Next slide, please. So HAPI was launched in 2020. It is an award program seeking to recognize and amplify innovative policies, programs, services, and anything like products that address the challenges facing aging societies. So the main objective is to gather information that is available in the region and share the experience and lessons we have region-wide. And through that, we hope to contribute to the international movements such as MIPAA and also like the UN Decade of Healthy Aging to promote healthy aging and longevity. So with respect to today's topic of Older People Association, or OPA, I'm very happy to share that the speakers we have today, Helpage International Vietnam was the winner of the first HAPI in 2020, where they won in the category of community-based initiatives for their intergenerational self-help club model, which is an OPA model in Vietnam. I would also like to mention the Foundation of Older People Development, FOPDEP, in Thailand, because they also was the grand prize winner from the first HAPI in the category of technology and innovation. So here are some photos of we had the consulate in Chiang Mai presenting the trophy to FOPDEP, and also the Japan embassy in Hanoi, like presenting the trophy to Tui, who is next to me right here. And we ourselves, as the organizers of the award program, were really impressed not only by the innovative work they do in the community, but also the determination they've shown in improving the lives of older persons, even in resource-limited settings. So today, I'm excited to hear more about the stories of the OPAs region-wide and their development and the evaluation of the work they do. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abe, for sharing with us the good work of JCIE, particularly these two initiatives with a focus on healthy and active aging, which reflecting the efforts of the JCIC in terms of well-being of older population in the region. During the MIPAA review, one of the recommendations is to accelerate the implementation of MIPAA made by several speakers, is to share and promote innovative, successful models among key actors in the region. And JCIE is doing just that. And we are very happy that actually two of organization of Helpage International Network actually won the grand prize in two different categories, including for the organization that now I'm working with. So thank you for your good work. And now we are moving to the next section. But before that, let me to explain some logistics. The session will be recorded. Yes, we know, because Eduardo made a comment on that. And the presentation and a summary of the key point will be posted on the organizer website after the meeting. And for this next section, there will be 3 presentations. And after that, there will be some follow-up questions, and then also question and answer time for input from the participant. And during the presentation, please feel free at any point to leave your questions and comment in the chat box, and we will take it up after the finish of the 3 presentations. Now, allow me to invite Mr. Quinn Trans, the Program Development and Quality Manager for the Society for On-Aged Portfolio at Helpage International. And Mr. Quinn Trans had many years of experience in development and expansion of OPA in the region. And today, he will be presenting the development and promotion of Older People Association in Asia. So the floor is yours, Quinn. Mr. Quinn Trans.
Thank you, Kun Usa, for the introduction. Yes, I am very proud and honored to be invited to share the latest update on the development of Older People Associations, or OPAs, in the region. So without further ado, I will now share my screen and presentation. Hi, my name is Quinn. Welcome to my presentation on the development and promotion of Older People Associations, or OPAs, in Asia. In the First World Assembly on Aging, held in 1982, the meeting recommended countries to support the formations of Older People Associations to respond to rapid aging globally. Since then, Helpage has worked closely with countries in the region to promote the development of OPA by doing the following. 1. Support the development of hundreds of OPA development and promotion materials. Second, conduct large number of countries and regional OPA training, research, and exchange. Third, support countries in resource mobilizations and policy advocacy relating to OPA development and scale-up. Here are some latest updates on the development of OPAs in various countries in Asia. In China, our network member, the China National Committee on Aging, or CNCA, and provincial government agency have supported the establishment of more than 600,000 OPAs in the countries with hundreds of millions of members. In Vietnam, the Vietnam Associations of the Elderly has established more than 100,000 OPAs with more than 10 million members throughout the countries. In Thailand, Senior Citizen Council of Thailand, or SCCT, with support from various government ministries, has established more than 30,000 older people clubs with more than 4 million members. In the Philippines, COSE and government agency have established more than 20,000 OPAs throughout the country. In Sri Lanka, the National Senior Citizen Committee, or SCC, has established close to 12,000 SCC in the countries. In Cambodia, Helpage Cambodia and government ministry have managed to establish more than 1,500 OPAs and have included them in the Cambodian Aging Network. In Malaysia, NASCOM has established more than 800 senior citizen organizations in large part of the countries. In Myanmar, Helpage International in Myanmar has managed to establish more than 200 inclusive self-help groups and has planned to increase the number to 800 by the end of 2023. In Bangladesh, the country has managed to establish 64 OPAs, 60 older citizen monitoring groups, and 31 intergenerational self-help clubs. In Indonesia, our local partner, Yakum, has established 59 women's groups and 22 intergenerational groups. By 2021, close to 90% of the country in the Asia and Pacific region have OPA. These are just a few examples of OPA development in the region. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Quinn. It's great to hear that most countries in the region already have this OPA with a very large number in some countries. This means there are huge resources in terms of knowledge and experience that we can tap on if we would like to further develop and also strengthen OPA to support the implementation of MIPAA. So it's a great news. And now I would like to invite Ms. Thuy Tran, the country director of Helpage International in Vietnam. As I mentioned the other day, she has been working in the field of aging for the past 10 years and also the co-founder of this OPA model in Vietnam, which is known as International Self-Help Clubs, the IHSC, which you might have heard about this model briefly during some of the discussion in the past today. But today she will share with us in more detail how the ISHC model has become the national development model and promoted and adopted by the government of Vietnam. So over to you, Ms. Thuy Tran.
Thank you very much, Usa. Today, it is my great pleasure to be on behalf of my team in Helpage International and also on behalf of our local partners, Association of the Elderly, to present to you more detail about our intergenerational self-help clubs in Vietnam. And now is my presentation. Hi, my name is Thuy from Helpage International in Vietnam. Welcome to our presentation on the development and promotion of the Intergenerational Self-Help Club, or in short, it's ISHC development model in Vietnam, which aims to enhance the community capacity to help themselves. As you know, Vietnam is rapidly aging. Currently, there are more than 12 million old people, and it will be close to 32 million by 2069. However, Vietnam is still a low middle-income country and has very limited resources to properly respond to and take advantage of rapid aging. So, getting old before getting rich would bring huge challenges for the country. Therefore, Vietnam has decided to invest in the ISHC model to respond and take advantage of rapid aging. Before we go to the latest ISSC development model, we need to go back at the very beginning, more than 15 years ago. At that time, our development approach was to establish various types of older people's OPA to support the project implementation. For example, if the project focusing on health and care, then the project would form OPA focusing on health and care. If the project is about livelihood, we would form OPA focusing on livelihood. We were very proud of our OPA's work, but had lingering questions. First, whether we're meeting the needs of the people or just the needs of the project. Second, what happened after the project ends? Will the OPA continue to be active? And the third, why aren't we seeing any local buy-in? So in 2005, we did a review of the OPA model in Vietnam and found that most of our OPA were very project or donor driven. It normally has only one or two focus areas. The project were mostly led by project staff. Beneficiaries were mostly passive. Therefore, there were weak local ownership, self-help and sustainability. We did not have any exit strategy and we were not able to go beyond the pilot stage. Our OPA model were expensive, not affordable, and too technical for the country to replicate. Therefore, we did not have example of local buy-in to our OPA model. The review came up with 3 key recommendations. First, the model needs to have a strong and wider buy-in. It should be relevant, meeting the needs of the beneficiaries, communities, and in line with the government priority. Second, the model should be durable to have long-lasting impact. And third, the model should be scalable, meaning that it should be affordable, standardized, and has supporting policy. Taking these 3 recommendations, the Intergenerational Self-Help Clubs or ISSC development model was developed. The ISSC development model is a development initiative that provides control of the development process, resources, and decision-making authority directly to community groups. The underlying assumption of the ISSC development model are that the communities are the best judge of how their life can be improved, and if provided with adequate training, information, opportunities, and resources, they can organize themselves to provide for their immediate and long-term needs and development. Moreover, ISSC development models are motivated by their trust in people, and hence it advocates for the people's full participation and ownership as a powerful force for development. By treating people as assets and partners in the development process, we can make the model be responsive to local demand, and it is more inclusive and cost-effective compared to traditional development model. There is a standard ISSC organizational structure which has been designed to promote full local participation and ownership of the ISSC model. A typical ISSC has around 50 to 70 members and is based at village or community level. The club membership has 70% requirements. The first is about 70% of the club members are older people. Second, around 70% are women, and third, around 70% of the members are socially and economically disadvantaged people. The ISSC is managed by a club management board. They are elected every 2 years by their members, and at least 50% of the board members are women. The members are divided into neighborhood groups, and each group has their own group leaders. The members are encouraged to form and participate in various interest groups that are under the club, such as social and country group, physical exercise and sport groups, home care volunteer group, and others. The ISSC model is designed to be attractive for young and old, men and women, poor and non-poor, and people living in rural, urban, and mountainous communities. Normally, the ISSC have at least 8 core components, which is based on the top needs of the member and communities, which are, first, social and cultural component. It consists of having fun with games and team-building activities, cultural performance, home visit, and lastly, exchange and sharing between the ISSC and other groups in the communities. Second, livelihood support, which include self-managed revolving fund schemes, awareness on pro-poor and age-friendly livelihood, livelihood support groups, and livelihood volunteers. The third component is healthy and active aging, which consists of regular physical exercise and sport, monthly health screening, health and self-care awareness through conduct talks, and lastly, conducting health check-up and improved access to health insurance and medical reference. The fourth component is community-based care, which provide various services for those in need, including social care, personal care, medical care, and lastly, the living support services. And over the years, the ISSC have become the largest community-based care providers in the country. Component 5 is self-help and community development. Every month, the club have activities to help each other and help community as a whole. This can be in cash and in-kind donations, in labor contribution, technical support. Component 6 is lifelong learning, which consists of monthly meeting of sharing in the monthly ISSC meeting, study visits and exchange, and intergenerational cross-learning and sharing. Component 7 is right and entitlement, which include awareness on right and entitlement, monitor the implementation of programs and policy, provide legal support services, and lastly, have regular dialogue with local authorities. The last and the eighth component is the resource mobilization, which consists of four main sources for the ISSC income, including local donation, it can be in cash, in kind, or in labor donation, membership fee, revolving fund scheme interest, and lastly is a collective income generating activities. A typical ISSC will be financially sustainable when it is about 1 or 2 years old. So why ISSC model? To respond to this question, all we need to do is to gather the evidence of the impact of the ISSC model. These are the results of the 3 recent ISSC projects implemented in 10 provinces in Vietnam, with a total funding of about $3.2 million, which enabled the project to establish 567 ISSC at the cost of less than $5,800 per ISSC. The ISSC had a total of more than 30,000 members, of which 75% of the members and 56% of the management board were women. The project directly benefited more than 607,000 people. After 2 years, the average increase in member annual income was close to 60%. More than 750 social and cultural groups were formed. More than 97% of the members reporting practicing regular exercise at least 3 times per week, and more than 1,000 sport and exercise groups were formed. The ISSC have conducted more than 90,000 health checkups. On average, each member received 3 health checkups per year, and close to 100% of the ISSC members have received regular health wellness information, and health insurance coverage rate was close to 98%. The ISSC has more than 5,000 home care volunteers, providing regular care services to more than 3,300 beneficiaries, and more than 5,600 self-help and community development initiatives have been conducted. The ISSC have managed to raise more than $1 million. More than 22,000 people have received legal support services. Now, looking at the impact level result, close to 99% of the members reported feeling happier, close to 96% reported improved solidarity, 93% reported having increased self-confidence, 91% reported increased empowered, and more than 90% the members reported being healthier, and close to 90% of the members reported being wealthier. We are very happy to see that from an international funded model, now ISSC has become national government model with clear targets set in the government policy. The Prime Minister already issued 2 decisions approving the national ISSC replication project. The National Program on Older People for 2021-2030 also has a target that by 2030, at least 80% of the communes would have ISSC. And the Vietnam Association of the Elderly is assigned by the government to take lead in ISSC development in partnership with other ministries and sectors. The finance for the ISAC is from various sources, including the government, mass organization, communities, club members themselves, and the private sectors. The inclusion of the ISAC as a national target has enabled the rapid growth of ISAC throughout the country. By August 2021, 3,842 ISAC have been established in 61 out of 63 provinces and cities in the country. With the second phase of ISAC replication project, the country aims to increase the number of ISAC to 6,500 by the end of 2025. The ISHC development model has won many awards and recognitions, such as the Grand Prize winner for the first Healthy Aging Prize for Asian Innovations. The model was selected as best practice in achieving SDGs by UNDESA, best practice in healthy aging in 6 WHO publications, best practice in World Bank and JICA publication, and in many other publications. In conclusion, the ISAC is a multifunctional, attractive, dynamic, and sustainable model. It is cost-effective and replicable for low and low-middle-income countries like Vietnam. It has shown to be the best model so far in Vietnam to respond to the challenges and take advantage of rapid aging in limited resources of Vietnam. It fits well with cultural, social, and economic features of the country. It can work well in various settings, including rural, mountainous, and urban areas, where older people are actors of change, who can help themselves and help others. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thuy, for this very comprehensive and inspiring presentation. The success of IHSC in Vietnam, both the growth in terms of the number and also the impact on the life of older people, I would say is impressive. Yeah, you highlighted the need to review and also to reflect and learn from the experience for the improvement of the model at the very beginning. And then you also underlined several important points for developing sustainable apology. And this scalable community-based OPA or IHSC, this include believing in people and in the community, in their capacity, be responsive and also be multi-purpose to respond to the different local needs. And also very important, I think, fit with the cultural and social and economic context and in each country. And the other very important point, I would say, being aligned with the government priority, which can greatly increase the likelihood of being promoted and adopted as a national model, which you have successfully done that. So these are on great point. And in terms of scalability, I think financial constraint is often one of the most challenging. So the affordability of the model is very important, and IHSC is able to tackle this critical issue. We can come back to on this important point in the Q&A section, but thanks again for your insight and very insightful presentation. Now we come to the last presentation, and I would like to invite Ms. Camilla Williamson. She is a healthy aging advisor from Helpage International, and she will present resilient and self-sustainable OPAs. Her presentation is based on findings from the evaluation of OPAs in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. Now you have the floor, Ms. Williamson. Is Camilla is here? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Camilla Williamson, and I am the Healthy Aging Advisor at Helpage International. But I'm talking to you about an evaluation that I did of a program of Helpage in 21 before I joined Helpage. So the project that I evaluated and that I want to share with you today is the SANA Phase 2 project. This was a project which built on Helpage work expanding the Older People's Association model in the region and learning from the intergenerational self-help club model that we've heard about already from Vietnam, which was part of a project in SANA Phase 1. The project goal for SANA Phase 2 was to improve the well-being of older people, their families, and their communities in Asia through resilient and self-sustaining older people's associations and improved social protection. So the project very much included working on both health and care as well as social protection. But today I wanted to focus on the Older People's Association and the model for sustaining OPAs and community-based organisations. So I first of all wanted to just give the brief overview of the model that was used for the project and for developing resilient and self-sustaining older people's associations. And it took a two-staged approach. Stage 1 involved the development of strong and sustainable models. There was various criteria for this. The first was that OPAs were based at village level in order to reach older people at the grassroots level and their communities. They were community-led from inception for rapid capacity building, strong local ownership and adaptive planning by the OPAs. They were intergenerational, and this was to ensure relevance to the community, broad links and wider support base, for example, for volunteers, technical support, and also to bring in diverse skills and perspectives. They were multifunctional, so including a range of different activities to ensure the relevance to the lives of the members of the OPAs and to improve well-being holistically. And really critically, they were designed to be sustainable from inception. So this includes financial sustainability, but also management capacity and institutional linkages. So the second stage was focused on support for replication of the OPAs. This includes a simple set of training materials and management tools, which were standardized for each country context. It focused on evidence of impact of OPAs, on the well-being of its members and the wider community. A key element was demonstrating value for money, including a social return on investment. And it importantly involved ongoing engagement with key stakeholders who can support replication. And this was really stakeholders from the grassroots level to the national and international levels. So the evaluation drew out a number of different areas of impact that I'll briefly go through. All of the project documentation and the final evaluation really clearly showed that the ambition to successfully replicate and strengthen OPAs was achieved. In Bangladesh, Cambodia and Indonesia, 49 OPAs were formed and a total of 372 in Vietnam, really recognising that this was building on a model that already existed in Vietnam. And OPAs scored very highly on their ISHC quality matrix that was developed. All of the evaluations and the various different reports that were produced throughout the project really showed the high relevance of the ISHC model for building and initiating strong and sustainable OPAs in the study countries and those different contexts. And they also showed the positive outcomes for older people. And this included in relation to health, income generation, more effective care in the community, but also voice and empowerment and supporting older people to be agents of change, which is what I want to focus on today. So multiple reports throughout the project period, including action research, reviews, short briefings, and also the evaluation, all illustrated various strengths and key factors for success and sustainability. And I wanted to include these here so that they're there for you to go back to. But I'm not going to run through them individually. But as I say, I will share various different resources at the end so that you can look in more detail. But what I really want to discuss today is the change process. And many of these aspects come into the change process, as we'll see. So what was the change process? So alongside looking at output and impact, the donor for the project was really keen to draw out in the evaluation the pathway to change of the project and exactly how that happened. And from my perspective, this was a really interesting and useful part of the project and its evaluation. And it was a real privilege to be able to talk to those engaged in the project, including staff, older people, wider communities, to really understand both the individual level changes that occurred, but also the collective changes and the process for those changes through the OPAs that were established. And I think, going on alongside this, I'm aware of the voice-related elements. And I thought it was useful to highlight, I worked on the voice framework for Helpage with colleagues. And this was very much based on how Helpage and network members work and how they support older people's empowerment, including through OPAs. And what was interesting was through this change pathway and exploring it as part of this project, the pathway to change that emerged through the evaluation really reflects the voice framework too, and they both very much reflect each other. Originally, I looked at the individual and group pathways to change, but actually what emerged was really intertwined. So what I'm presenting is very much the one for individuals, but also the one for OPAs as a whole. So the change pathway that emerged really highlights the journey from engaging and motivating community members and building solidarity and commitment among members, and then supporting them to be informed and empowered through building community capacity and demand, which then led to individual and group action and creating or claiming space for government or citizen interfaces that enable older people's voices to be heard, the issues affecting them to be understood, and for their demands to be responded to by power holders. So really in that last phase, strengthening voice and accountability. But I want to unpack each of these in a bit more detail and talk about some of the critical elements involved in each that emerged. So firstly, the step of engaging and motivating. And key inputs for this that came out included having that set approach and standards, including critically financial sustainability. This was seen as something really important for engagement and motivating people to continue to engage. The diverse activities with tangible benefits also came through as very important, and building understanding of the model among key stakeholders, including club members, but also communities, wider service providers and government. There were multiple stories of people or communities not really understanding what the OPA was and what it was going to do at the beginning, hesitancy to join or, skepticism towards its activity from others. But that by showing by doing and increasing the visibility of the activity that the OPA was doing in community really led to more understanding and that community buy-in, which was critical to the formation and strength of the OPAs. Also taking an inclusive approach, so the intergenerational diverse membership in terms of age, disability, socioeconomic status, and trying to reach more marginalised groups. The second element in terms of building solidarity and commitment included various different aspects. So the monthly meetings and the clear understanding of expectations for contribution from members, but also the benefit that they would get out was said to be really important. Equally, the strong and transparent management process seemed to be key to building trust and commitment to the model. And this was very much the case too, alongside the financial transparency and that self-sufficiency, which seemed to be important for trust and solidarity and commitment. Also, and this comes through from all of the different documents that you'll find on OPAs, they're fun and enjoyable activities. People really enjoyed them. There was laughter. Always people reported this, and they really promote friendship and happiness through the kind of activities that they're involved in. Then there was a stage around informing and empowering, and this really seemed to be a process of providing information, advice, supporting learning, and then training and doing. So that cycle to build up capacity. It wasn't just about provision of information. It was about supporting it to be embedded through learning and doing. Creating and claiming spaces for people to come together was really important. And also within those spaces, promoting shared decision making and problem solving. A lot of people talked about the equality and equitable approach, everyone's voice being important and everyone being consulted in making decisions collectively. And that really seemed to strengthen capacity of individuals and also the OPAs together. And in that way, the importance of taking a community-led approach from the beginning, which seemed to support individual and group action. Lastly, all this led to strengthened voice and accountability, and really important thinking about it from the demand and supply side approach, by which I mean, the demand that older people in the community, increasing their capacity and demand for accountability, but then engaging stakeholders and power holders and addressing their understanding and their capacity to respond. So that's demand and supply side. So building strong networks between those different stakeholders and older people's associations, building the citizen capacity and demand, as I've said, and claiming or creating space and opportunities for state and citizen interface. So having meetings with stakeholders, service deliverers, power holders, and using those to really hold power holders to account and getting responses from them. And this was key to lots of different outcomes. So in health, for example, bringing local service providers to hear older people's concerns, and they would go away and respond to them and think about how they could respond. And then those relationships will build, and that was key to sustainability, not just in those areas but in others, because once you've created those relationships and those spaces, they can last beyond the project. So to highlight the impact of this and that process, I've just included this quote from one of the chair people in the OPA in Bangladesh. He said, "Now we do know many things about services, such as how to keep good health, about rapport building, to identify the problems of the community and ways to resolve the problems together. We could not imagine it ever. We had only to depend on the government support for reconstructing the road, but now we are doing such work with the support of community people through collection of money and resources, as well as negotiating with the local government for our betterment. So we came to know the different things from here and getting value and recognition for good work from various entities of the society and administration." So I really think that speaks for itself and highlights that change process from engaged and motivated to engaged to strengthening voice. So I just want to finish just a few reflections. The approach really, I think, shows how older people can be supported to be agents of change. They are already, but how that can be amplified, and supported to take the lead in their own and others' development. And there was clear evidence for how this can be replicated and strengthened in other settings. The strengthening of the demand and supply side accountability was clearly central to securing meaningful change in multiple contexts and in different areas, so social protection, health, etc. And I think what was really clear was the role of the network approach in promoting strong partnerships, joint action and shared learning. And this was true between OPAs within countries or in local areas, but also between countries and then across Helpage. And I think this is a really promising model and learning for the future in terms of the Helpage network and us all working together. And it takes time. I think a clear lesson that we see repeatedly from these exercises is still more to do to build government capacity and commitment to OPAs. In terms of challenges and opportunities of COVID-19, you'll read more about this in the full report, but it clearly presented a lot of challenges, but there was also opportunities to showcase what OPAs are able to do and how they can respond. But they also highlighted new challenges. How can we support people engage with digital technologies? And I think finally just wanted to reflect that I think strategically the OPA model and the multifunctional approach really aligns holistically with approach to promoting dignity, well-being and voice through grassroots to global linkages. So thank you so much for your time listening today, and just to reiterate what an honour it really was and insights gathered from speaking to colleagues who've been working on this for so many years and older people as part of this evaluation. And it's really a testament to the diverse activity and learning that there is and the incredible work going on. So I'm really pleased to be able to speak to you today, and it will be great to have a discussion. I've also just included some further reading and links to the evaluation report and other bits and pieces for more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And yes, thank you very much. I don't think Camilla is here, but thank you anyway for sending the presentation that she made in advance to share with us. And which she highlighted the point that highlighted in the presentation, many of them it actually resonate with experience of IHSC in Vietnam, which it is expected because this program is actually replicating the IHSC model. So her presentation identifies key factors and key features of OPA that make them strong. And the point on how to support the replication of the model are very useful, I think, and it's a great learning for developing and strengthening OPA outside Vietnam itself. And which is it is clearly shown that the IHSC model can work in other countries with some adaptation, of course, and taking into consideration the local context in which it's operated or it's developed. And her highlight of the presentation about this, she nicely presented this the chain process. It actually how the IHSC in other countries that is being replicated, it actually can evolve and can be successful. So thank you. She's not here, but thank you anyway. Camilla is based in the UK. It probably is too early for her. With that, I'm now moving on to the Q&A section. And I think I see two questions in the chat box. But anyway, now I have some problem because my chat box is right up in the middle of the screen. But anyway, the first one. So I will take up these two questions in the chat box first, and then if there's time, then we will have some follow-up questions for the speakers. Yeah. The first question, actually a short one, asking whether I think whether there's no OPA in Nepal. Maybe Quinn can quickly just respond to this. And the other one is I will probably direct it to Thuy. The question if whether you can explain how persons with disability are involved in the IHSC. So please, Quinn, and then Thuy to respond to these two questions. Thank you.
Yes, as I said, this is just some examples of OPA development in some countries. As you said, 90% of the country in Asia has OPAs. In Nepal, yes, we have OPAs. In India, we have OPAs, and in many other countries as well. But because of time limit and also the areas of, so we did not cover Nepal. But hopefully in the future, we will then add Nepal into the presentation.
Yes, Thuy.
Yes, thank you for the questions about how older people, how the person with disability are involved in the ISSC. So as I presented earlier, the ISSC set up the three criteria to recruiting their members. And one of the criteria is socially or economically disadvantaged. And people with disability is one of the those. And the priority is given to the people who either living alone or with the NCD or with the disabilities. But depends on the level of disabilities, and they can participate in various activities of the ISSC. If they still can physically active, they can be the member. If they are like homebound or bedbound, they are not the members, but they can be supported by the club members, like a club home care volunteers or the economic development volunteers, and the club other activities such as access to rights and entitlements. The club help them to access to the right entitlement, or even support them to have some small microcredit to improve the income activities at home, like raising a small scale chicken raising or duck raising at their own home, and other activities as well. So it depends on the levels of disability. They can participate in relevant activities of the ISSC. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Thuy, for your response to the questions. I have this just quick additional information on the chat box about the OPA in Sri Lanka. Shaminda from Helpage Sri Lanka clarified that they have formed over 11,000 village level OPA. So thank you for the information. So while we are waiting for, you can also raise your hand if you would like to have a question or any comment. But in the meantime, while we are waiting for more question and comment, I have some follow-up question for our speaker. And I would like to direct the first one to Quinn. And there are many development approach used and are being proposed in the region to respond to rapid population aging for resource limited countries. So why should government select or invest in the OPA development model? I think Thuy already covered some of the point, but you can further elaborate on that, Quinn.
Yes, why should government select or invest in OPA development models? From our experience show that well-managed OPAs, there are many, many reasons. These are some of the reasons that the government should invest in OPAs. First, it is cost-effective and affordable for low and low middle income countries. For example, to scale up the OPA nationally in Vietnam, Vietnam would only need to invest 0.02% of its GDP. It is popular with young and old, men and women, and poor and non-poor, as we have said. It is effective local mechanism to improve older people's life and mobilize their contribution to bring about positive change. Next, it is scalable. We have shown in many, many countries in the region, able to replicate in rural, urban, mountainous, and coastal communities. And finally, there are a large number of available resources relating to OPA development and promotion, such as national OPA policies, programs, guidelines, and training material that can be adopted and adapted to your local country context.
Okay. Thank you very much, Quinn, for responding to this question. Yes, there are very good reasons why the government choose select to invest in the OPA in responding to this population aging, which actually not only are challenges that it brought, but it's also lots of opportunities. And the OPA is one of the best way to make use of full potential of the older people in the region. Yeah, so that's a very good point to make. And I have not seen any hand raised and also no question in the chat box, but we have some more minutes. We have about 10 more minutes. So I would like to direct this question to Eduardo, Mr. Eduardo Klein. What can government and UN agency like UNFPA and UNESCAP, what they can do to promote the development and scale up OPA in the region, as a UN agency with a mandate on the aging issue, what can they do? What is their role to promote this model? Please.
Thank you, Kunusa. I think the UN, both SCAP, UNFPA, they do not implement directly projects on the ground. They work basically through governments. And it is the role to support governments and contribute to building the political will to implement this, to support the development of these organizations. So, for example, we are going through the MIPAA review, and the MIPAA review is highlighting consistently the importance of community-based organizations, and in many cases, the Vietnam approach has been the intergenerational self-help club model has been mentioned once and again, and it probably will come up in the declaration, the importance of supporting this community-based organizations. Now, it is up to the governments to in a way to support them, and some civil society organizations that are in a way not the main players in this. The main players are people, older people, concrete people who get organized, and they are supported by some civil society organizations like Helpage, or basically by governments who create the conditions both for civil society organizations to operate, but also for older people to organize themselves. The case of Vietnam, for example, is very illustrative, no? That how Helpage started working with this, experiencing a model together with the Vietnam Association for the Elderly, and then the model became more and more perfected. It became more attractive to donors. It became more attractive to other organizations and to older people themselves, to local governments, and started growing. So from 60 that there were in 2008 or 9, now there are 6,000, 3,000, nearly 4,000 OPAs. But that was because the government took it, and there was a prime minister decision, the 1533, that was enacted in 2016, that said, well, this model is working. Let's establish a goal. But let's establish a goal, let's allocate a budget, let's allocate responsibility for the provincial governments, responsibility for the different ministries, and let's meet this goal. When this goal was being met, they had another decree by which the expansion was forecasted or foreseen to be bigger, and the means for that expansion were allocated, were defined. So the question is how you build the political will and the commitment and engagement of governments, and that is basically through some civil society organizations, older people themselves, older people and their organizations, who in a confluence of wills will build a bigger political will expressed in government decisions and governmental support. I don't know if I answered your...
Thank you. I think you did. I think the question is about the role of UN agency, but you actually what this agency can facilitate collaboration and exchange and learning, capacity building, but you actually highlight the importance of the government's role. And together with that, we also the role of CSO and the other people themselves to work together to create a political will, which is much needed for not only about OPA, but for other issues as well. So thank you very much for that. We have 5 minutes left, and we have one question in the chat box. So I go with that questions, and then we will ask Mr. Could Eduardo Klein to close the session. So this question is from India, from Dr. Vinod. Thank you, Dr. Vinod. Is it possible to establish and support OPA policy in India's local area? We already run a national elder care helpline and iRadio to help and educate other people. If there could be process, it would be helpful starting at a grassroots level in India. So that's the question. I think maybe Tui or Quinn can respond to this about the, this OPA policy in India is already, I mean, how to actually establish the OPA in India in a successful way.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. How do we bring the OPA up to the policy level, the national policy level? And I think luckily in India, we have very, very strong and large partners, for example, like Gravis and Helpage India, which have been supporting the establishment of self-help groups or older people self-help groups in the countries. There are thousands of these groups in India, which are similar to what OPAs are in other countries. And I think if Gravis and Helpage India can work together, I think they can really advocate for a national policy on OPAs. We have many examples of more than 10 countries that have OPA national policy on OPAs and targets. So we can also share with local partners in India.
Okay, thank you. So yes, so Helpage is very much willing to support the sharing of this experience in Vietnam or in other countries where they are a successful OPA at the local level. It's also can be further developed into a higher level of network of older people. So we have 4 minutes, but I think we can take up one more questions if there is any questions, and then we will invite Mr. Clean to close the session. But there is this just comment from Yuwa who comment on the disability that she just said it would be great to read the detail of practical experience of dealing with issue in enabling the meaningful participation of person with diverse disability, yeah, and on equal basis with others. So I think it's not a question, but it's just a comment and observation. Yeah, okay, so just a few minutes left, so may I invite Kun Eduardo to give a closing speech for this meeting, please.
Thank you, Kunusa. I think in this session we have seen a summary of how OPAs were developed and how they were evaluated in the case of the intergenerational self-help clubs. This afternoon we're closing the 4th review of the MIPAA, and one of the points that is coming to discussion is how do we move from the declaration to practice? How do we make this intention to develop policies and statements into concrete actions that affect the lives of older people? And I think that is the challenge also of OPAs. I think in the last couple of years, even during the pandemic, the intergenerational self-help clubs have demonstrated how valid they are for the lives of the communities, not only of the healthy or the vulnerable older people, but for the community as a whole. And I believe that in the new configuration of societies, in this redefined aging societies, the clubs and the OPAs will have a crucial role to play, and it will be the task for generations to come to maintain the approach to communities. I was talking with a Japanese delegate today, and he was mentioning how they, in their approach to designing a society for aged society in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, they, in a way, they abandoned or they minimized the role of communities, and now they are coming back to the importance of communities and community organizations as a key feature for the design of their aged societies. So we are learning from the advanced aged societies, but we are also learning from the middle-income countries, in particular Vietnam, where this model, this approach is being successfully implemented. I think if we can handle this well, if we can support the building of political will, as I said, then this will be a path for the future. And thank you, the Vietnam team. Thank you, the JCIE also for taking this as a social innovation, because if you take it as a social innovation, you are promoting it to other realities. Thank you so much for that, and thank you all for conveying this knowledge and experience today. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Eduardo, and also thank you all for your contribution. We learn a lot from this presentation and discussion, and I hope you find the session overall is useful in one way or another for your work. And I also hope the learning from this session can also contribute to the implementation of MIPAA in the coming year. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you. Bye-bye.